Saudi Arabia slapped America right in the face, and this is a huge slam dunk for China. The Saudis have signed a mutual defense agreement with nuclear armed Pakistan, meaning that an attack on either one of those countries is considered an attack on both. This is a massive shift in Asian geopolitics. China couldn't be any happier, and it's because America's hatchet men in the Middle East went a little too crazy attacking Qatar. Like I mentioned yesterday, the little country of Qatar hosts America's largest military base in the Middle East. It was supposed to be an untouchable zone, yet it was attacked by one of America's crucial allies in a failed mission to take out key H group leadership. It didn't work, and they ended up taking out 5 low-ranking people and a Qatari official. And for Saudi Arabia, this was the straw that broke the camel's back for relying on U.S. protection. This is a huge deal because Saudi Arabia may be the most influential oil country on the planet. They have one of the highest reserves at 267 billion barrels. Yes, Venezuela has 303 billion barrels, but it's nowhere near the quality or ease of access as Saudi oil. While the United States is the world's #1 producer of oil, Saudi Arabia is a close second, and this one country supplies 10% of the world's oil. So if the oil fields are ever attacked or harmed, that disrupts production. Not just that, it disrupts oil prices throughout the whole planet. Now, in the 1990s, early 2000s, there were some small-scale attacks that managed to land in the Saudi oil facilities, but in 2019, under our current president's watch, a massive drone strike occurred from another H group that actually shut down oil production by about 5%. And I'm talking global oil production. It was seen as a huge failure of this president's first administration, and it made Saudi Arabia very doubtful as to the extent of American protection. And then seeing America's deterrent power fail against the attack in Qatar was too much for the Saudis to handle, and they decided to shop for more protection from more reliable sources. There came Pakistan. But remember, Pakistan is completely in China's pocket. They have record high debt to that country, totaling about $30 billion. The country keeps failing to make payments on that debt, and China just rolls over the debt in new debt to Pakistan. China has also heavily invested in Pakistan's defense capabilities, overall infrastructure, because they see Pakistan as a huge buffer to India's growing power. And now Saudi Arabia is on Pakistan's side. Let me correct that. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have been allies for several decades, but it's never intensified to the point of a mutual defense agreement. So now, if Pakistan and India go to a full-scale war, that means Saudi Arabia will also be declaring war on India. It also means that India will definitely not be able to rely on Saudi Arabia for that oil. It also means that China can influence Pakistan to poke and prod India, which I bet you they will absolutely do. And India is very limited into how they can retaliate. For all we know, since Pakistan is a huge importer of Chinese arms and weapons, I would not be surprised if there was some contingency in this mutual defense agreement requiring, or at least enticing, Saudi Arabia to start purchasing Chinese weaponry as well. Right now, Saudi Arabia is purchasing a little bit of Chinese defense weaponry, but I would not be surprised if we start to see that grow to a grand scale. So now, not only has China secured a great deal of diplomatic leverage through this, they're also getting a lot of military leverage. So this huge strategic blunder on September 9th has harmed the West, but profited the East, or at least China, immensely. Now, it doesn't mean that Saudi Arabia is diplomatically or economically done with the United States. They are still heavily cooperative with that. This chart is the conversion rate for Saudi Arabia's currency, the rial, versus the US dollar. And since 2014, if you could look right here, you could see it barely changes between 3.75 to 3.76. That is a very small spread for a currency, especially for a large economy. The reason why is because the Saudi Arabian rial is pegged to the United States dollar. So even the hugest fluctuations of the dollar's overall value to the world won't really change how Saudi Arabia values it. They're still one of the top 15 holders of U.S. debt, totaling about $131 billion in U.S. treasuries. They're holding about $400 billion in cash reserves. So there's still a great economic lifeline going on between the United States and the Saudis. But still, the United States has lost something very valuable. We've lost the trust of our allies in the Middle East, and we've lost a bit of our deterrence power. I am the Geo Hussar, and the United States government brought this huge failure on itself. Thanks for watching.